Hi students, good morning. Welcome to Physics Made Easy channel by Pratap Naidu. Okay, so let's deal this chapter Newton's laws of motion. As this chapter is a crucial one in terms of NEET or IIT JEE. In previous video, I have mentioned this chapter. This was our first chapter, crucial chapter. So, and I am going to deal this chapter in two formats. Number one is Newton's laws of motion without friction. And another one is Newton's laws of motion with friction. So we are going to deal this one here. Okay. So there are lot many problems where friction is not applied, and there are lot many problems where friction is applied. When friction comes into action, the problem becomes somewhat complicated. Frictionless problems and problems with friction. So we are dealing Newton's laws of motion without friction first. Okay, later we will discuss the chapter friction, and then we will do the regarding problems there. Newton's laws of motion without friction. So okay, before going into the original topic, let us first discuss regarding the topics which we are going to learn. So let me list out the topics here. Number one is Newton's laws of motion. Number two, fundamental forces. Number three, contact and non-contact forces. Number four, details about the forces we use in Newton's laws of motion. Before getting mastery in solving problems, you should have command on all these things here. So, first one, let us start with Newton's laws of motion. First law, there are three laws of motion, you know. This is the first law. It is also known as law of inertia. It is also known as law of inertia. Since we are getting a new word, inertia, before learning what is the law of inertia, first let us learn what is inertia. What is inertia? So what is inertia? It is a physical property due to which a body opposes any change to its state of rest, any change to its state of rest or uniform motion along a straight line uniform motion along a straight line. So what is inertia? It is a physical property due to which a body opposes any change to its state of rest or uniform motion in a straight line. What does it mean? Suppose if a body is there in rest here, if a block is there in rest, we are interested to see that this block is in motion. So if we apply a little force, can we set into motion? We cannot set into motion. Why we are unable to set into motion? Here we have to apply some large amount of force to set that one into motion. Why? Because this block is opposing any external agency to change its state of rest. It is interested to stay or to continue in its state of rest only. It does not want to change its state of rest as, okay. Suppose, okay, this is about this one. Then what about this uniform motion along a straight line? Suppose if this block is moving with a speed of v equal to 10 meters per second along east. So what type of motion it is having? Uniform motion along a straight line. So now changing uniform motion along a straight line means what here? Suppose if we want to slow down this one, if we want to make v is equal to 8 meters per second, just by changing the magnitude of this velocity, is its uniform motion not changed here? Changed. Previously it was moving with a constant velocity of 10 meters per second. Now its velocity is decreased to 8 meters per second, keeping its direction constant. Even if keeping the velocity constant, if you want to change its direction, then also we have to apply a force. It will not obey us easily. So it is even opposing any change to its direction of motion. So now if our intention is not to change its velocity of 10 meters per second, we want to keep that one as it is, and we want to change its direction from east to south, then also we have to apply force. Why we are applying force? Because we are facing some resistance from the body which is opposing to the change in its direction. So clear now? So now how many points are there? The body is offering resistance to change in its state of rest, to change in its magnitude of velocity, to change in its magnitude of direction. Due to which physical property? That physical property is none other than inertia. Accordingly, there are three types of inertia. Three types of inertia. What are they? 1. Inertia of rest. 2. Inertia of motion. And 3. Inertia of direction. Got it? Yes. In your real life also you have experienced this inertia. When you are moving when you are standing in a moving bus, when the driver suddenly applies brakes, what happens? We tends to fall in forward direction. That is due to inertia of motion. What happens there? When the driver applies brakes, our foot which are in contact with the floor of the bus, they will come to rest along with the bus, but our upper body will try to continue its motion. It is not interested to stop. It tries to continue its motion. So we fall forward. When we are standing in a stationary bus and when the driver suddenly starts the bus and moves forward, then we tend to fall in backward direction. How it is possible there? There, our foot which are in contact with the floor of the bus, they will be moving along with the bus, and our body, it tends to remain stationary. So foot are moving forward, our body is standing here. What will happen? We fall in backward direction like this. That is due to inertia of rest. All of you might have experience with this one. Direction also, when the bus takes a turn like this, we fall in opposite direction. Okay, that is also that is due to inertia of direction. So here, this is Newton's first law, or it is called as law of inertia. Got it? So what is inertia? Inertia is a physical property. And what is the law stating as? Law of inertia. What it states as? It states that an external force is required to change the state of rest or state of uniform motion of a body. So from this, what this law of inertia explains us, a body cannot be easily changed. It is a state of rest or state of uniform motion. Something is required, some physical quantity is required. What is that physical quantity? That physical quantity is force. Okay, Newton's first law simply says that a physical quantity is required to set a body which is in the state of rest into motion, or to change the uniform motion of a body along a straight line. So Newton's first law is giving the idea of a new physical quantity, that is force. It is not giving us any idea regarding the magnitude of force or the direction of force. It is just giving us the imagination that something is required to move a body which is in the state of rest, or to stop a body, or to change the direction of motion of a body. Something is required. It is giving the idea regarding that one. So previously we dealt Newton's first law, but Newton's first law cannot help us in problems, no? Why? Because it is just giving us that there a physical quantity called force exists. Okay, but here it is not giving us any further information. For calculation part, one more law is required, and that law is Newton's second law. So what is Newton's second law of motion? It states that if a force F acts on a body of mass m, it produces an acceleration a. Since these are vectors, let us write in vector notation. F bar equal to m, this is a bar. So from this, what can be learned here? What is the direction of acceleration? The direction of acceleration is along the direction of force. So the directions of both of them are same here. For example, suppose if a force F acts in this direction, what is the direction of acceleration? It will be in this direction only. Suppose a force acts in this direction, then see here we can write F equal to ma, mass of the block is m, F equal to ma. Can you write here like this? Okay, because this acceleration is produced due to this force. Now here also we have taken same block here, and here this body is tied by means of a rope and being pulled like this, and this body is having motion in this direction on the floor. So what is the direction of force? In this direction. What is the direction of motion? In this direction. So what is the direction of acceleration? Along the direction of motion, no? So this is the direction of acceleration. Now can you apply Newton's second law here and say that F equal to ma? Mass is mass of the block here, okay? This is the acceleration, okay? And is this force responsible for this acceleration here? No. Then what is responsible? See, I am splitting this force into two components. One is F vertical, and in this direction one more component, that is F horizontal. So actually which force is responsible, which force is producing this acceleration? This component or this component? This component. So we have to write here Fh equal to ma. Recently we got in an international article that F is not equal to ma. This is the case here. F is not equal to ma. Here Fh is equal to ma. We should keep in mind that the component of force that is responsible for producing this acceleration, we have to consider only that part. Okay, so we should take care of this one. Now got it here? This is all about Newton's second law of motion. This Newton's second law of motion helps us in solving problems regarding Newton's laws of motion. And students, you might have come across one more derivation regarding this force here, that is F force produces the rate of change of momentum in a body. But I am not using this one. Why? Because till now, let us suppose that we don't know what is momentum. Okay, by starting this chapter, we have not introduced this word momentum till now. Till now what you know is the kinematic terms, you know, displacement, velocity, acceleration, all these things you know. Immediately after kinematics, we are jumping into Newton's laws. And why, when we start Newton's laws, we don't know the word, or we don't know the physical quantity momentum, so I am not using momentum here. In future, I will use this one. Okay, so simply now we can define Newton's second law as F equal to ma. And you should keep in mind that the actual force which is acting on the body is not responsible for the acceleration produced in the body, but what actually is the component of force which is in the direction of acceleration is actually responsible for producing the acceleration. So we should take care of that one. Okay, now Newton's third law. Newton's third law is also an important law here which helps us a lot. So what it states is, for every reaction there is equal and opposite reaction. What does it mean? If one body applies force on another body, that another body does not sit idle. It also applies the same amount of force on the first body in opposite direction of the previous force. Okay, so let us consider here two bodies. This is body A, this is body B. If A applies a force F on this body B, let us write this one, FA. FA is the force applied on body B by body A. Now what body B does here? It also applies a force. Let us write FB because it is due to B. It applies a force FB on body A. So both these forces are in opposite direction or not? Opposite direction. Then what about their magnitudes? FA equal to FB. FA equal to FB. So magnitudes are equal. Then what about directions? FA bar is equal to minus FB bar. Clear now? Yes. So here one more point you have to keep in mind is that the forces are not cancelling each other. In Newton's third law, the action and reaction forces, they do not cancel each other. Why? Because they are not acting on same body. See, let us see here. If a body is acted upon by a force like this, suppose let me take these two forces FP and here FA, such that FA equal to FB, then what is net force? F net equal to FA minus FB, that equal to 0. So if two equal and opposite forces act on a body, then only their net force will become 0. Here they are acting on different bodies, so net force is not equal to 0 here. Net force on A is FB, it is not equal to 0. Net force on body B is FA, it is not equal to 0. Got it? Yes. So now Newton's laws of motion, in Newton's laws of motion, the crucial part, Newton's laws have been discussed now. Now let us jump into one more category, next category. First part is over. Of 4 selected topics, the first part is over. Now let us jump into the second part, that is fundamental forces. As Newton's laws is a chapter that deals with forces, we should know the different forces in nature. So fundamental forces in our universe, there are 4 fundamental forces. 4 types are there. Okay, what are they? Number 1 is strong nuclear force, weak nuclear force, number 3 gravitational force, and number 4 electromagnetic force. Why I am touching this topic is because many students, they are not aware that under what category the force falls. Okay, see, first in the universe, out of the 4, there are 4 fundamental forces. Out of 4 fundamental forces, 2 of the forces, strong nuclear force and weak nuclear force, they are confined to single chapter or single topic, that is nuclear physics. Of all the chapters of intermediate first year and intermediate second year, so these 2 fundamental forces, they are confined to one small chapter, that is nuclear physics. Then you know about this one, gravitational force. It is also having a chapter on its own name, that is gravitation. Okay, but in problems wherever we do require the gravitation, we use gravitational force. This is one fundamental force. There is only one force, gravitational force. But when it comes to electromagnetic force, several types of forces are there in this category. Let us check them. What are there? Let me list out the forces which fall in this category, that is electromagnetic force. It is sure that we are clear with nuclear forces. We are aware of gravitational force. So that all the remaining forces which do not fall under this category and which do not fall under this category must be falling in this category. So whatever force we are dealing, that is none other than nuclear force, that you have to conclude, right? So what are the forces? For example, number 1 is normal contact force, normal contact force. Next, friction. Next, tension, spring force, air resistance, viscosity, viscous force, electrostatic force, magnetic force, and what else? Electrostatic force, magnetic force. Okay, all these are, they fall under which category? They are electromagnetic forces. Third one is contact and non-contact forces. What is a contact force and what is a non-contact force? So what is a contact force? If a body A is in contact with body B, this is A, this is B. If a body A applies force on body B by being in contact with body B, then such a force is called as contact force. This is a force on body B due to body A. This force is known as contact force. Simple, if two bodies are in contact and exert force on one another, such a force is known as contact force. So if here body B applies a force some B on A, this is also contact force. So it is the force which can be applied only by being in contact. Such a force is called as contact force. What are examples for contact forces? Normal contact force, friction, air resistance, viscous force, what else? Tension, spring force, all these are contact forces only. So next, what are non-contact forces? If body A is far away from body B and if force is applied on body B, Fa is force applied on body B due to body A. Let us suppose that body B also applies a force on body A, that is Fb. Both are applying forces on each other, but they are not in contact. Such forces are called as non-contact forces. What are examples here? Electrostatic force. Another one is magnetic force. So okay, suppose we consider two charges, positive and one more positive charge. What happens here? This positive charge is repelled by this one in this direction, and this positive charge also repelled by this one in this direction. So what are these forces? Electrostatic forces. Are they contact forces? They are not non-contact forces. Similarly, we can consider magnetic poles. This is north pole, this is the south pole, and we know unlike poles attract each other, therefore south pole attracts north pole towards itself. So this is force due to south pole, Fs. Then what does this north pole does? It exerts a force Fn on south pole. Here these are also non-contact forces here. The fourth one is details of the forces which we are going to deal in Newton's laws of motion. What are they? Okay, let me write here. Details of forces. The first one is normal contact force. Normal contact force, it is symbolized with capital letter N. So what is a normal contact force? So in the name itself it is there, it is contact force. So surely this is not electrostatic force or magnetic force, no? So it is a contact force. And how does it act on a body? It acts on a body normal to the plane of contact. So let me explain here. That's why it has got its name as normal contact force, because that force is acting normal, that is or perpendicular. So let us take an example here. So this is a block on this floor. So it is a contact force which is acting normal, no? So what is it actually? Suppose if this block is lying on this floor here, this is the plane of contact. Okay, so there is an imaginary plane of contact between the bottom surface of the block and the top surface of the floor. So normal contact force acts in a direction normal to that plane of contact. This is the plane of contact. The normal contact force must be perpendicular to this one, or it is normal to this plane of contact. So now let us see upward direction or downward direction. See, this upward arrow is the normal contact force acting on this block, while this downward arrow is the normal contact force acting on this floor, because floor is also a body only, no? Okay, here there are two bodies, one is the block and other one is the floor. So if I write this one N, as a normal contact force is symbolized with N, so let me write here N. Then what about this one here? This is also N only. How? By Newton's third law. If this floor is applying a force N on this block also applies the same force N on this floor by Newton's third law. For every action, there is equal and opposite reaction. Got it? So let us conclude. This normal contact force comes into existence when one body comes into contact with another body. So that is, this force arises just due to contact. If there is no contact, no normal contact force. If there is contact, there will be normal contact force. For example, if this block is slowly moved down, still this block is in air, will there be any normal contact force here? No possible. When the block is kept on the floor, at the instant when the block is kept on the floor, immediately this normal reaction comes into action on this block. Got it now? So if the block is just lifted up so that it just loses contact, immediately normal contact force vanishes. We are just lifting it upwards, so there is no contact here. So what happens to N here? N equal to 0. So what are the conclusions? Normal contact force is just because of contact, and it is normal to the plane of contact. Let us take a wall here, and a block is pressed against the wall here like this. It is placed like this. In this case, what is the direction of normal reaction? As in this case, here it is upwards. On this block, normal reaction is upwards. Let us forget about this floor. Okay, we are considering block. So now, if the block is kept against the wall like this, what is the direction of normal reaction here? Is it vertically upwards and downwards here? No, it is always perpendicular to the plane of contact. So we have to first choose the plane of contact. What is the plane of contact? We have to find plane of contact. This is the plane of contact, and it is normal. So as we are considering block, we have to consider this arrow or this arrow? This arrow. Why? Because floor is applying this force actually. Floor is applying this force on this block. So floor is applying the normal reaction N on this block. So okay, as this is the plane of contact, it is normal to this plane of contact. Got it now? Now what if the block is kept here like this? Now this is the plane of contact. Here plane of contact is horizontal, here plane of contact is vertical, here plane of contact is a slope. So here in this case, what is the direction of normal reaction? Like this. Actually, I had to draw the normal reaction at the bottom surface because it is actually acting on the bottom surface only. But for the sake of convenience, I am drawing here. This is normal reaction on this block. Got it? And next, till now we have considered plane surfaces being in contact. So what if we consider a curved surface, a block placed on a curved surface like this? So in the case of plane surface, at every point, this point, this point or this point, the plane, all these points lie on the same plane of contact. But here, this point, this point, this point, different points, they lie on different planes of contact. Keep that point in mind here. So how can we get the plane of contact here? Just by drawing. Suppose if you want plane of contact at this point, draw a tangential plane here. So this is the plane of contact of at this body, at this point, sorry. And then at this point, what is the plane of contact? It is in this direction. Second one. And for this one, just see here, three different planes of contact here. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So for the curved surface, the plane of contact is not a single one. There are various or infinite number of planes of contact here. Then what we have to do in such a scenario? Suppose you want to find the contact, see here contact force at different points will be different. Here the contact force at every point is same only, no? But here the contact force at a different point is different, because the planes of contact are different here. Got it now? Suppose if you want the contact force at this point, you should consider this plane number 2, and you should draw a normal to this plane. This is N2. Suppose if you want to find the contact force corresponding to this plane of contact 3, then this will be like this. See, directions are different here. This is in this direction, this is in this direction, this is N3. If we consider this one, it will be like this, N1. So got it now? For plane surfaces, we will be having only one direction, but for curved surfaces, we will be having different directions. Suppose, let us consider a block in this case here. In this case, this block is in contact with a curved container like this. So in this case, how does normal reaction acts? How can we find the normal contact forces? See here, this edge is in contact, only this edge is in contact with the container. Here this edge is contact in container, no? So this is the point of contact. Just you draw a tangential plane at this point. So this is the plane of contact at the point where this body is in touch with this body. So we have to choose the plane of contact like this. So at this point, this is the normal contact force. Got it? Let it be N1. If the bodies are not uniform, the normal contact forces are also not same. So at this point, similarly, take a plane of contact. This will be the normal contact force N2. In this way, we have to consider whether the bodies are plane surfaces or they are curved surfaces. No problem. Just draw the plane of contact at the point of contact, and we can find the normal contact force in this case. Okay, right. So details of forces. The first force is completed now. That is the normal contact forces. Are you sure? The normal contact forces comes into existence when one body comes in contact with another body itself. When it just comes into contact, normal contact force comes into existence. Okay, no other requirement is there. Just this body is coming in contact, immediately normal contact force comes into action. So it is due to contact between the bodies. Got it now? Clear. Now let us jump into next force, that is friction. I want to compare this friction with a normal contact force. That's why I have taken this one. Okay. See, you know, when a body is just in contact with another body, immediately a normal contact force comes into action. But here, if this body is in contact with this floor, friction is not there. Friction does not come into action. When does friction comes into action? You know, when this body tries to move. And how does friction acts here? As you know, friction opposes the relative motion of this block with respect to this floor here. So as it opposes the motion, it is, if motion is in this direction, the opposing frictional force will be in this direction, symbolized as small f, frictional force. And see how friction is acting. Where friction is acting? Friction is acting on this bottom surface. Where it is acting, you know, on the plane of contact. Just like normal contact force, friction is also acting on the plane of contact. But here it is acting tangential to the plane of contact. Unlike the normal contact force, where it is acting normal to the plane of contact here. Got it, no? So that is the difference. Normal contact force acts normal to the plane of contact, while frictional force acts tangential to the plane of contact here. So next one, we have completed normal contact force. We talked about friction, and the next force is tension, symbolized as capital T. What is tension force? Tension is a force that is present in a stretched string. Tension is a force that is present in stretched string only. Suppose if we consider a string here, is this one stretched? No, it is slackened. This is a slackened string, and if we apply forces here in this direction, if we apply forces at the two ends, it comes in this way, no? This is a stretched condition due to this one and due to this force. Here, if we don't apply any force, the string is in slackened condition previously. Now when we are applying force, it is stretched. In this string, there are no contact force, so there are no tension forces. When the string is stretched, immediately tension forces comes into existence. So as the tension force symbol is T, I am removing this one and I am writing this one as T here, and here also this is T. So got it now? Where does tension force exist? Tension forces exist in stretched strings only. Okay, they are not meant for solid rigid bodies. Tension force is related with strings only, stretched strings only. If there is any stretched string in the given problem, there will be tension forces. Okay, suppose if a block is attached by means of a rope like this, this is the rope. Suppose the rope is initially loose like this, it is loose, for example, like this. A boy is holding this rope here. Initially this rope is loose, slackened. Now there are no tension forces here, no tension force in this rope. Now once the boy pulls the rope, what happens? If he applies some pulling force here, I am designating the pulling force with a T because tension force has its own symbol. Using that one I am writing here. Now any force acts on this block here? Yes, force acts on this block. Due to what? Who is applying force on this block here? This string is applying, not the boy. The boy is applying force on this string. This string is applying because this string itself is in contact with this block. This string is applying force on this block here. So in which direction this string is applying force on this block? Rightwards. At this point of contact, this string is applying force in this direction. Shall I write it as some T here? Okay, this is also tension force. Sorry, both the forces are equal here, and this is possible if this is a massless string only. If the string is massless, at any point tension is same. So if the boy applies a pulling force T here, the same tension force is applied on this block here. Got it now? So who is applying force on this block? String is applying. What is the nature of force? Is it a normal contact force? No. Is it a friction force? No. It is a new force, that is tension force. And you may get one doubt, sir, you told that tension force, they are meant only for strings but not for rigid solid bodies. Of course not. Of course. I told you before, tension forces, they are meant only for stretched strings. That doesn't mean that they are only present in stretched strings and they do not act on rigid solid bodies. If a string is connected to a rigid solid body and pulled, what type of force is acting on the rigid solid body there on this block? Tension force only, because it is being pulled by means of a string, stretched string, that is, it is being acted upon by tension force only. And even on solid rigid bodies also tension forces can act by means of due to stretched strings.